The following was recorded in front of a live studio audience at the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe. This is the United Podcast Network.
This is Africa Diaspora Connect.
Join us as we take the journey from the motherland to America.
We share our experiences and learn from them.
Here is our host, Kibathi Gaturu.
All right, are we live? Are we live?
Yeah.
Is it direct?
Welcome back for another week.
It's 44 degrees out. I feel like it's...
I don't even know what that means. I come from Australia. We use Celsius.
Hey, listen. You'll get acclimated. I come from Zamunda. We use Celsius as well. So it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Listen, it feels like spring. Spring has sprung.
It has.
Yeah. So you and I can relate to this, right? You're Australian originally.
Yes, sir.
I'm Kenyan, born and raised. This here US of A, they call it a melting pot.
Yes.
That land of milk and honey, right?
Right.
All right. It's one thing to aspire to get here, and we get here. It's like, wait, what did I just walk into?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Like, it's only been a year for you, right? How long has it been for you?
Yeah, about a year, a little over a year now.
All right. There's
Yeah.
something called ICE. You ever heard of those folks?
No. Oh, wait, yes. The immigration. Yes, I have. Only in the movies where they're deporting everyone, apparently.
We call them aduri. Say aduri.
Aluri.
No. Aduri.
Aduri.
Yeah.
I got it.
Oh, yeah.
I got
Everyone, especially in the Kenyan community, at your fingertips, it's a wisp of your lips. It's like, okay, we're here. Now what? So this gentleman has been here before. He's been coming back. It's actually public demand.
Okay.
Public demand. He's coming in here, part 2, to take us to the next level. Oh. You know, he gave us some nuggets of wisdom the first time around.
Okay.
And this was before when the Orange Man was in power.
Okay. Well, now we got a different one.
Now we got a new player in town, all right?
Right.
And we're thinking this new guy is going to come with some resolutions. We don't know what yet. There's a lot of hoopla out there. There's a lot.
There's a lot been said. But
a lot been said. But
we'll
today, we're going to get it right from the man himself. He's going to break it down for us.
All right. So who we got on the show?
Let's see who we got. He's out there in Zoomland.
Oh, who have we got? Here he
his
is.
name is Mr. Lawrence Gatei, and he's no stranger to the Africa Diaspora Connect. Welcome to Studio 21, my brother. Welcome. Good to see you again.
Good to see you, Mr. Kibathi. Thank you so much for having me on.
Oh, listen, I even wore my favorite sports coat. You know, I just wanted to compete with you. Now you got a tie, so now you got me played. I mean, come on, I can't keep up with you, my brother. I can't.
I'm always a step ahead of you.
You must be an amazing chess player. So before we get started, let me pay some bills. Here, all right? Let me just pay some bills. So this episode today is brought to you by Njenja Business Services, LLC. They are located in Waltham, Massachusetts. For all your personal taxes, business, and nonprofit tax services, contact Samuel Njenja at 781-799-6105. SBA loans, PPP, applications and all that, contact at IRS and Actuary Enrolled. He does both, IRS and Actuary. He's an enrolled agent, and you all know who he is. It's tax season. So, Mr. Gatei, Esquire.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kibathi.
Have you filed your taxes? Have you filed your taxes, by the way?
I have not yet filed my taxes. I'm just taking notes as you are talking.
Oh, yeah, take those notes, man. I got my guy. He's going to sort you right. He's actually Donald Trump's tax lawyer, tax attorney as well. So he handles Donald's stuff. That's how the Donald doesn't pay any taxes. So he's the guy to see. He's the guy to see, man. So listen, you're back. Public demand, man. Let me tell you something. After our last show, little was said, more was taken in, but there was a lot that we felt that we did not cover. But that said, the elections are gone past us right now. And my brother, we are drowning. We are drowning in information that we don't know where to start, what to believe, what not to believe. And this is why my audience has said, listen, we need Lawrence back. We need Mr. Gatei, Esquire, back, immigration lawyer extraordinaire, to really walk us through what's happening. What do we believe? What don't we believe? So I'm going to let you run this one and tell us the whole new Biden administration, right? As it pertains immigration, what's going on and where do we start? I'll let you do the talking. I'll listen. I'll pitch in when I have to. The floor is yours, my brother.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I tell you, Chris, since the last time we were here, a lot have changed. Of course, an election has come and gone by. Now we have a new administration.
That we do.
And part of their clarion call, when the Biden-Harris ticket, was going through a pre-election, one of the main items was immigration reforms.
Yes.
And of course, now we've had a chance for them to really dig deep into what they think should be or ought to be coming. Before, when they were running, we were not quite certain as where they stood in a lot of many things. Of course, when you're going through campaign, you just sort of summarize. We really don't know what was in the bag, but now, boy, do we have something.
I want to hear it.
And I like us to unpack all that. It's a whole lot going on.
You're the man to do it. We're listening. We're paying attention.
So the first thing first.
Okay.
When President Biden, his first day of office, what he did is sign a good number of executive orders. Some of these executive orders pertained to immigration.
Okay.
One of them was freezing deportation for 100 days. While he reviewed sort of the previous administration's policies and how to go forward. Of course, that has been challenged in some courts. There's a federal court in Texas that sort of seems to overruled that particular executive order on freezing deportation for 100 days. But in any case, that's still there. That was one of the executive orders. That does not mean that, just because deportations have been frozen, that people are not going to be deported. Again, that was so that the new administration can review some policies. But with that also, maybe good things may come out of that. Okay. And one of them would be for people who may have had deportation orders for one reason or another. It might maybe make it a little bit easier to sort of go back to court, reopen cases, and if people are able to file for a green card, maybe they would be able to do that. We'll wait and see.
Okay.
So right now, we are not quite certain what happens after that.
It's still in limbo. Got it. Okay. That's one.
Now, the other thing was DACA. DACA.
DACA for the kids who came in when they were younger. Yeah.
Children who came in as they were younger. Before the previous administration tried to terminate DACA. But then a court came in and put an injunction, stopped that. But since then, DACA sort of has been on life support. Now, with the new administration, DACA seemed to have been given some life has been breathed into it. So,
a breath of fresh air. Good. Okay.
DACA is still good.
Okay.
Now, after that, of course, all those things are temporary. Executive orders are only good as far as an administration is there.
Understood.
So what has happened since then is the new administration has now talked about the full now immigration reform bill, which is what most people are looking forward to.
Let's hear it. Which
is, regularizing a lot of people who came here many years ago. They have families here, they have businesses here. There have been, sort of several, studies about, immigrants, contributions to society. It's not easy to just send these people back. No. They've done a lot here, and most of them are law-abiding, citizens.
Most of them.
So now what has happened is that the new administration has proposed some pretty, hefty immigration policies, to ameliorate that problem and help a lot of people legalize their status. Now, what does that mean to legalize their status? People, so they'll be able to live here legally without having to fear deportation. Second, be able to work whenever they are able to, whenever they can get a job, and also be able to travel back and forth. Many people who came here many years ago, but
have never, ever.
In limbo, they're not able to travel back home to see their families.
Cannot.
So that will be able to help if these proposals, they become laws. Now, let me explain what that means, though.
Okay, what does it mean?
These are proposals by the new administration. They still have to go through Congress.
There's still proposals.
Because it is Congress that makes the laws. So it's a good starting point. And now the next step will be these proposals are going to be debated in Congress, both by House of Representatives and by Senate. And if there's a consensus, then of course that becomes in the new immigration law. So what is it called? Well, they're calling it is U.S. Citizenship Act of 2021.
U.S. Citizenship Act of 2021.
Exactly. Now, this is comprehensive. Comprehensive meaning it takes a view of pretty much every aspect, so to speak, of immigration law and policy. That is family-based immigration laws, where families are able to petition or bring other family members here. It also takes care of employment-based immigration. That is businesses or people with businesses, who are able to either employ people who don't have documentation here, or bring people to work as professionals.
Okay.
There's also, some provisions about what's called EB-5. These are people who are coming here as investors. So there's a policy now towards that, making that line of immigration also a little bit easier. It's not easy to come here as an investor. So they also want to make sure that, that also opens an avenue whereby people are able to invest in this country. And a lot of people are very entrepreneurial.
Very. Well, on that case of investment, let me ask you this.
Yes.
Are you trying to tell me as an investor, and I had millions of dollars to come in to invest in this country, I would still have a roadblock with my millions? Is there
it's not as easy. Just because you have $1 million, which is now the threshold, at least a minimum threshold of investment, doesn't necessarily guarantee that you're going to get a green card.
What is the threshold? $1 million?
Right now it's $1 million. Before it used to be there was 500. 500 was called pilot project. You invest. It's a sort of a pooled a project whereby various people they pull 500,000 together into an investment project. And then of course when that investment project picks up, for example, let's say it's building hotels. And that picks up, and that particular project is able to employ a good number of United States citizens, provide employment. Then the people who put in those funds to bring up this particular project are able to apply for green card. All right.
Understood.
But just because you have 500 or you have 1 million, now 1 million is for people who, let's say you have someone who want to bring their own business. In this case, let's say from Kenya.
Yeah.
Someone to come set up a factory here or a manufacturing business.
Yeah, I want to come. I want to come and burn my car. My car, charcoal business.
Or let's say, for example, someone like to come here and start a mill, to process coffee in the United States.
There we go.
So that particular investor need to at least invest about $1 million in that direct investment.
Wow.
And as long as that business picks up and it's able to employ people, certain number of people, normally it's about 10 people plus, then a person also can be able to get their green card or permanent residence and live in this country.
All right, moving on. What are the areas with the new immigration? What else is being covered?
Now, the other area is on people who come here again. Let me talk a little bit about the family-based, because that's vast when you talk about family-based migration. Let's say, for example, like now in your case, Chris. Let's say, you go back to the roots, go back to Africa, fall in love, you get married there, then you come here, and then you're trying to bring your wife here. Before it used to be they have to stay there and wait until the whole process is over. Now, what the new administration has proposed is that when you file that petition, there will be a visa that may allow your family to move in here while they wait for that process here.
Oh, amazing. So they don't have to sit in the motherland in Zamunda.
Exactly.
They can come
it cuts short the time when the family is separated.
Oh, what's this called? What is this one called?
What is it called?
Is there a name for this? Is there a name for this one?
No, it's still part of family-based immigration.
Family-based immigration, exactly.
Right,
Okay, got
right.
it. Mhm.
And then the other thing, which is also quite important, is also based on family immigration.
Yeah.
Is whereby you have someone who comes over here, they get their green card, but before they came here, they had children back home who are young.
Mm-hmm.
Now, before that process, it used to take forever, really. I mean, many years, especially when someone is not a US citizen and the children there are getting close to age 21.
21, got it, yeah.
Normally what happens is that once they turn over 21, depending on how long the application has been pending, by the time a green card number is available for them, they would have already aged out.
Exceeded the 21-year
Exactly.
threshold. Yeah.
And that means they'll not be able to come in here. So what the new proposal does is that it freezes that age forever.
Oh, so basically, got it. Oh, yeah. Wow.
So a person still remains a child up until the process is over, as long as it was filed when they were a child.
That makes sense. That actually makes more sense.
Exactly.
Chrissy, what do you think?
It's also fair.
Yeah.
It makes a lot more sense.
Because it's just because of bureaucracy. It was not the person's fault. It's not the fault of the government. It's just, again, that's inundated by the amount of application.
Red tape, bureaucracy.
So because of the red tape, because of the bureaucracy.
Got it.
Because of the amount of
this is really good news.
People who are applying, then that in a sense prejudices a child who's been waiting for so long to come and join mommy and daddy here.
Wow.
So now they don't have to worry. If the application takes 5 years, they're still a child.
You're still 20 years old as far as they're concerned. Whatever it was when you applied, it freezes right there. Okay, got it.
Right. Now, there's also another important aspect of this immigration, which, again, we as migration professional, we are still kind of fussing through to see what's in it.
Yeah.
But there's one also which is quite important. A good number of people, they came here, either they applied for asylum or for one reason or another, they were placed in deportation proceedings. But then they've stayed here long, they've had their families here and their businesses here. It's not just here to approve them and send them back to where they came from.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be a Herculean task to have someone like that afterwards, when there's an opportunity to apply for a green card, be able to get a green card. Mm-hmm. There was a bar, either a 5-year bar or a 10-year bar. Sometimes it's a 10-year bar.
Mission impossible.
Exactly. For example, if someone comes over to the US, they overstay their visa or they stay here for more than 1 year without any documentation, when they are trying to apply for a green card, sometimes they may be barred for 10 years. I mean, that's a punishment.
That is a punishment.
And they have to stay outside of the US for 10 good years before they can be able to apply to come back to US. The new policy seeks to eliminate that bar.
I recall that. As a matter of fact, I think if you were deported back in the day, you could not be readmitted into the States for a decade, for 10 years. Was that correct?
Exactly.
So now, with this new proposal, you're saying what exactly? Say that again.
So the new proposal is seeking to do away with the bars. So you don't have to be barred, as long as you don't have other, hindrances like serious criminal record.
Okay.
If you qualify to apply for a green card, according to the new policy, you should be able to apply for a green card. You don't have to wait for that.
Oh, this is amazing, man. All right.
The other good thing also is the backlog. I'm sure you've had a lot of people you may know there that have been waiting forever because of the backlog. The reason why there's a backlog, and people sometimes don't understand, and I have to explain to the clients, every single year there are only so many green cards that are authorized by Congress to be given out or dished out to people.
Okay.
Every year.
There's a quota.
There's a quota.
Okay.
And once that number is reached, forget it. You have to wait until the next year. And sometimes these numbers are not reapplied, especially if they're exhausted at the end of the story, and you have to wait again. So what normally happens is that people wait for years and years and years and years before their petitions become what we call current.
While you're on that one, let me ask you this, and let's not. I'll remember to come back here. So with this quota, does it matter? Because I know there are quotas. Different parts of the globe have different quotas, right? If you're from Mexico and you're from Nigeria, or you're from Egypt, or you're from Kenya, are the quotas different, or does every region have a different quota? Africa versus Europe?
Every region does, yes.
Okay.
Every region does have a different quota.
Understood.
And there's a history behind it,
Okay.
which if you think about it, it's quite fair.
Yeah.
The history behind that was, the understanding of it was, well, we want this country to be diversified.
True.
True. If you look at initially, at the inception of this country, most of the people who used to come here were from Western Europe. Europeans,
yeah.
And not just European, but Western European countries. Mm-hmm. England, Germany, France, the Scandinavians. But then the rest, there were not that many. There were not many coming from eastern part of Europe. There were not that many coming from Africa. There were not many coming from the southern part of Europe. So what the quota, the reason behind the quota was to also provide avenues for other people to be able to
diversity. So going back to your point, I love it. So going back to your point, so now go ahead. Going back, I kind of like pushed you to a lot of envelopes. So now with this new proposal, what's going to happen with the quotas?
So what they're proposing is that now, the new quota should be increased from 7% to 20%, and that's an enormous amount of.
That's almost 2.5 times.
Almost a good amount of visas, exactly.
Whoa.
Green card visas.
Whoa.
So they want to reform that so that, again, it's still the whole thing about reducing the backlog, that is.
Understood.
Let's increase that cap, so that any person who is able to come here to immigrate here can do that and come and contribute to the great society.
Because my brother, let me tell you something, man. We're all moving to Canada, man. We're going to Canada. We're all going to Canada. This thing is getting out of hand here. We're moving to Canada. I'm just letting you know. I'm just letting you know. I'm letting you know, man.
Wait, I just got here.
Oh, sorry. I did.
Now I got to move again?
Oh, I didn't think you were listening. I'm sorry.
I just got in there. It'll be fine. I tell you this. Never ever bet on America. It's again, no country is every country has its own issues.
Yeah.
But here things do change, as you can see.
Like the weather.
Okay.
Like the weather.
So don't lose hope.
All right.
Another thing is Chris, particularly for the people who, we all came here from back home. Sometimes we are able to bring our parents, and some of these parents, they'd like to contribute, but they may not have been able to go to school back home.
Yeah.
And so when they come here, even though they get their green card, it's very hard for them to become U.S. citizens. So, and part of it is because maybe they can't speak the language very well. They can write English language. And then that's, by the way, there's a test before you get citizenship.
Yes, there is.
So part of the policies would be to do away with, some of these hindrances. To excuse people who are either 60 or 65 years old.
I'm almost 60. What are you trying to say? I'm only kidding. Go ahead. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So now the quiz is going to be different, maybe, to accommodate folks that may have not had the privilege of higher education, and So is that what you're saying? Is that what you're amplifying?
Yeah. So exactly. So people who are elderly. I'm elderly meaning from, it's not elderly, but 60, 65 plus, and they've had their green card for several years, which means they're a little acclimated to the American culture. They should also be given an opportunity to be able to be a U.S. citizen and contribute more to the democracy of this country, and also to the economic development. Sometimes people are in a sense in shocks because they can't do much. You're a citizen, can speak the language as well.
Yeah.
Not be able to write or read.
Got it.
You're old, you're at that high age where you can't go back to school. So at least it frees them up.
It does.
They can do other better things. I'll give you an example. I have a lot of clients who are 70 plus, and they have their own daycares. Well, guess what? Right now, when you're trying to make sure that people who are working in the healthcare, sector. They are able to focus on the healthcare sector without having to worry about their kids because their kids are being taken care of in these, daycare center. Well, guess who's running these daycare centers? It's a 70-year-old grandma.
Exactly. Especially during this COVID, especially with COVID, we need those people. We need a place to ship our kids.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when you free them up in this way,
Yeah.
they're able to contribute and sort of help with it.
It makes sense. It's logical.
It is logical. So I thought that was extremely very good. A good portion of my time here is trying to help people become a citizen when they've got their green cards for so many years. But sometimes some of these people, they've gone through trauma in their countries, and it's not very easy to be able to take the citizenship test.
True. Any other proposals?
Now, other proposals are, which also are quite fair, pertains to people with some not too serious criminal records.
What's not too serious? Like someone who steals cows? Or what do you mean? What's not too serious?
So for example, not serious. Something like OUI, whereby you didn't cause an accident. You robbed a police officer. Maybe you may have had something that really did not affect your ability to drive, but because you went to criminal court and then you accepted a deal, you put on probation.
Got it.
That can really affect, your ability to apply for a green card. But if it was not as serious.
So there's some leniency.
Exactly.
Got it. Yeah.
So the new proposals seem to offer some leniency in some of these cases. And some of these cases, by the way, because they arise, out of, they're based on state law, and some states they ameliorate the impact of those cases either by expungement, or sealing of the documents so that people are able to get employment.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that, Chris, for immigration purposes, when your particular, less serious criminal case is expunged or sealed, for immigration purposes, that particular conviction is still alive and is gonna affect your application for green card.
Got it.
So what the new proposals are alluding is that you should not be prohibited from applying for a green card if you had a less serious offense. That was expunged or even sealed under state law.
This is all terrific, man. This is all terrific. Anything else?
Now, there's also something else that I wanted to also talk about a little bit here.
Especially that's going to affect us Africans, because we need to know, because we want to vote. We want to vote in the next election, man. So you need to let us know. We need to get this thing together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now, the time is also, quite forgiving. So,
I'll have a question for you as you're looking into that.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I created something here so I can discuss that with you. So, some of these, assuming this becomes law, Chris, one of the things I've been, of course, by the way, these are all policies. So I don't want people going out there and apply. There's nothing to apply for. Okay, these are all policies. They are proposals that will have to go to Congress, be debated in Congress. It's not law yet. So there's nothing at this moment that people can apply.
What do you think the longevity? How long do you think this is going to take for anything to go to law? What do you think? What time frame are we looking at?
Now,
with your experience,
it depends on what happens in Congress. The good thing is that the House of Representatives, this bill has been introduced in the House of Representatives.
Okay.
So we're gonna start seeing within the next few weeks, some discussion going on. There's also a talk that either the end of this week or sometime next week, a similar companion bill will also be introduced in the Senate.
Okay.
Again, they also start debating, and normally what happens is that House has its own bill, Senate has its own bill.
Got it.
Once all these bills are debated and they are passed in their respective houses, they are brought together.
You had a printout. What did the printout? What was the printout about?
Huh?
Your printout. You're reading something. You were going to read something
Oh,
from a
no, I
printout.
was just reading about the time.
The time frame. So
Yeah, so the time frame of so who qualifies? So assuming it becomes law, let's say today it becomes law.
yeah.
So who is supposed to, who is eligible to apply?
Uh-huh.
So according to this, is any person who was in the U.S. as of January 1st, 2021.
You have to be in the U.S. January 1st, 2021.
Yes, for those who are in the U.S.
Yeah.
Now that's pretty generous.
It is.
Because sometimes when these especially in the day when we used to have amnesties, and amnesty was, wow, it must have been in the US for the last 10 years or the last 15 years, whatever the time is. Right now it is as of on or before January 1st, 2021.
Question here.
Yes.
Biden reopens gateway for green cards and work visas, reversing Trump COVID-19 freeze. What do you know about that?
Yes, what happened was the Trump administration at the height of the coronavirus pandemic, froze new visas, new application for not green card. People are still applying for green cards.
Mm-hmm.
But non-immigrant work visas, people who are coming here temporarily to work. That was frozen. For example, something called H-1B, or J visas, people who normally come here for cultural exchange, but they're able to work in the US, maybe in camps. So all those visas were frozen. Also frozen were people who had applied for green cards for their families who are back home, and they were waiting to be scheduled for an interview at the embassy back outside of the US. So the embassies were closed and they were not scheduling people for those green card interviews.
Got it.
The green card application was still going on, where we were still sending them out and they were still getting approved. Problem is that once they get approved, they will not go to the next step of being scheduled for interviews at the embassy because they were closed.
Understood. Okay.
So the Trump administration had closed that up until the end of March. But now the new administration has actually done away with that.
Okay.
So now the visas, the J1 visas, all employment-based work visas, and also the embassy are now opening to start scheduling people for the interviews.
That is great news. The question I had was actually was kind of long-winded. I'm just trying to summarize it and trying to make sense out of it. Historically, immigrants have been required to present evidence of financial economic support while being vetted for permanent residency or to adjust status, okay? Usually by filing a form called the I-864. This person seems to be informed. The Supreme Court ruled in favor of the public charge requirement that beneficiaries be vetted for public charge by filing I-94, blah, blah, blah. So considering that the highest court of the land decision remains the law, is Biden's executive order going to reverse the law?
Well, not necessarily, and yes, some respect. So let me explain a little bit about what our public charge is. There has always been a requirement of anyone who applies for a green card here to show that they're able to support themselves.
Okay.
Now, it's not the person who shows, it's the person who is petitioning for them, unless there's employment-based visa. So let's say it's a company applying for green card for an executive. They do not need to show that they have the financial wherewithal.
Okay.
The assumption there is that you already have a job, you should be able to support yourself.
There we go. Yep.
It's the family-based green card applications. So let's say, for example, you have a father or a husband who petitions for a wife. Before the wife can get the green card, a form called Affidavit of Support, I-864, has to be submitted by the petitioner.
Yep.
So that he or she has the financial wherewithal to support the beneficiary.
Yeah.
That has always been there. It's actually the law. That has not changed. What the previous administration done is that they had gone a step further and introduced something called public charge, whereby now the applicant for green card, not the petitioner, the applicant, the beneficiary, has to file a form called I-944, indicating that they also have financial strength to support themselves. And if they don't, there's an assumption that once they get their green card, they're going to apply for welfare, they're going to apply for free care, all those kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
So again, before, only the petitioner needed to show that they have the financial wherewithal. And if the petitioner doesn't, the law allows the petitioner to co-join with someone else called a joint sponsor to be able to show that they have enough financial wherewithal to support the person they're applying for green card for. And that wasn't too much of a problem with that.
Okay.
The problem was this new public charge requirement, whereby now the applicant, him or herself, has now to show that they have the financial wherewithal to be able to support themselves.
Got it.
So what Biden administration is trying to do is look into that new requirement. And by the way, that new requirement was not just for people who are adjusting status, it was also for people who are going to the interviews at the embassies. They still had to show that, So they're reviewing to see whether they can take that away.
Okay.
So public charge has always been there. Again, it's the way the government or the administration had enforced that. There was no I-944 for the applicant to show, but the previous administration required that. So Biden's administration is looking to see what they can try to do away with that sort of new provision.
Understood. Okay.
And if they do, it should be a lot easier, for people to to immigrate without a whole lot of problems.
We're paying attention. Before I let you go, one last thing. Can you go over this order of supervision and how do you get out of an order of supervision and how tough it is, how realistic? What does the future hold for someone who has an order of supervision?
Okay. So an order of supervision, it is a program by ICE, Immigration Customs Enforcement, whereby people who have deportation orders, they are here, they were ordered deported, but for one reason or another, they could not leave. One of the reasons why people don't leave is because they've been here for so long. Their embassies in DC may not have a record of them, and it becomes very hard for them to get travel documents. And so because of that, you can hop on a plane without a passport. So because of that, they are caught in here. They can leave. On the other hand, the government is telling them you leave, but they cannot. So what ICE does is that when ICE apprehends these people with deportation orders, they put them or place them in a program called supervised release, whereby they're supposed to be reporting to ICE every so often, and to show their effort that they're making to try to obtain the travel document. Now, when they're in that program, they're also allowed to apply for employment authorization cards. So they're also able to support themselves. So how do you get out of that? Well, the way you get out of that is filing a motion to reopen your case. The person tries to go back to immigration court where the deportation order came from to try to reopen, remove the deportation order, and show that maybe the reason why the deportation order was issued for the first place, it was because it was they did not know about it. It was a default order. It's called an absentia order, whereby someone was supposed to receive notice to go to court, but the notice was either sent to a wrong address or it was never sent at all. Those things, they do happen. Or someone had, they had left the previous address where it was sent. By the time it was sent, they were not there. Anyway, one of the main reasons why people get deported or issue deportation order is because they didn't go to court, and they didn't go to court because they didn't receive notice. So if a person is able to show that the person did not go to court because they did not receive the
it wasn't through negligence.
Hearing notice to go to court. A court may grant that motion, reopen the case, remove the deportation order. And if a person is able to apply for a green card, they can do that after the deportation order is removed. Another way to try to do that is, if let's say a person who has a deportation order now has an opportunity to apply for a green card. Let's say, for example, someone who was not married and now they're married to a US citizen.
Good point.
And through that, now they can be able to apply for green card. They can attempt to go back to court and say, now I'm able to apply for a green card.
Okay.
Please reopen my case so I can apply for this particular relief. Another way would be sometimes when people are here, things happen back home. There are turmoils, there are political issues down there, and the person is not able to go back safely. They can also seek to reopen their cases because of what's called changed country condition or changed circumstances. They can be able now to go back and apply for political asylum in court.
Man, my brother, listen, we're going to wind down, but this ADC, this whole realm of immigration, man, we can go forever and a day.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot. And you know what? As things progress, I would love to have you back to really enlighten us more. I'm urging folks out there, I know it's getting whatever, but listen, let's watch these things to the end. Yes. I understand your attention span is all of 8 minutes, but guys, when it comes to immigration, make sure you watch this whole thing. And I'm just saying it. There's something somewhere along the way that's going to affect you personally. Man, Njenja Gatei, you are the man. We would love to consult with you. We would love to actually have you represent us on condition you start sponsoring us. Sponsoring us someday. I'm only kidding. But your nuggets and everything you're bringing, all that wisdom, trust me, we need it. ADC, we're going to wind down. Listen. You know where to find us, guys. This is yet another journey, a journey for us to settle and make an impact in this here, our land of milk and honey. We all don't have to go to Canada. Trust me, we can make a home out of this, and I'm hoping the new Biden administration will help us there. So, you know where to find us, guys. You can find us on Facebook. You all saw that, Africa Diaspora Connects. We're on Instagram. We're everywhere. All the links are right in the description. And the description, once again, guys, you know where to find it. It's not below here. Not here. It's when you click on that YouTube, just click on that thing. You'll see everything that you need to see. You're going to see exactly how to find my brother. Do it. Subscribe. And guys, let's listen. Our quest is to 2,000. Let's get to $2,000. Let's keep sharing this content. I am coming at you live and direct. Studio 21. We are Africa Diaspora Connects. And my audience here is deep today. Let's hear it from the audience. There we go. Njenja Gatei, you're the man. Thank you so much. Chrissy, thank you once again for your diligence.
A pleasure as always.
All right. We'll see you soon. Njenja Gatei, thank you so much, sir.
Thanks so much for having me on.
Kwaheri.
I'm honored.
Yakuonana.
Bye.
All right. All right, guys.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.